Welcome back to Miles Around. It's time for our first in the driver's seat, and it's this, the 2007 Jaguar XJ-R. Now, Jaguar started off as a motorcycle sidecar manufacturer called Swallow. They have evolved into a premium car manufacturer, and the first time we saw the XJ was about 40 years ago. Well, this new XJ is probably one of the best they've ever made. Dennis?
Well, you know, it has started 40 years ago, but for the XJ-R, it actually started in 1995 with a supercharged 322 horsepower six-cylinder power plant under the bonnet. Thought I'd be politically correct and call it the right name for the Jaguar segment. A little later in 1998, they added the supercharged V8, and then a couple of years after that, added the all-new aluminum body that really lightened up the body and made the entire car perform and handle so much better. Now we're going to take a look at the inside of the car, the place you really want to be in a luxury car, and then of course we'll take a look around the outside, some of the aesthetics, tires and wheels, brakes and whatnot, but first, let's get under that hood.
So now we have the hood of the XJ-R open. You can see a lot of plastic, but it's the same in a lot of modern vehicles. It's because they don't need any major servicing until around 100,000 miles. Now in this car, it obviously has the supercharged engine. You can feel it, you can hear it, and you can definitely experience it when you put your foot down on the floor, right, Dennis?
That's right, 400 horsepower and 413 pounds-feet of torque, going through a 6-speed transmission, which is unfortunately connected to that J-gate. I've been telling them for years to get rid of it. More importantly, it's the way that they use aluminum in the vehicle. It is an aluminum skin, aluminum chassis, and aluminum suspension components that are backed up by CATs, their elaborate air ride suspension. What does that all mean? The car is very light for its size, and it handles incredibly well because of the very low unsprung weight and the low weight, under 4,000 pounds for a car that size. It's almost amazing. It really boils down to this. It is a luxury car with the heart of a lion. Taking a look around the outside of this car really does let you harken back to the original ideas and design behind the XJ. Now this XJ-R in front of us has some of the classic lineage lines that has made this particular signature of a vehicle so remarkably recognizable in today's market. Whether it was a 20-year-old XJ or this modern car, it still has that classic look and it flows throughout the entire vehicle. Now modern upgrades like big tires and wheels do give it that updated look, and you move down the vehicle, they've done things like make mirrors that don't break off as soon as you touch them, but it also goes throughout the back of the vehicle.
You know, it's very little to talk about in this vehicle. The lines are very smooth and it's very straight. And you know, when I went to school, I remember some of my schoolmates' parents having these very same cars, and I could tell you right now, the body style is exactly that. It's classic and it's stayed the same. At the back end, the only thing that you really notice different in this car is the two large exhausts. Now that makes the car stand out a bit more, and it is that sort of modern styling that we talked about.
Moving into the interior of the new XJ-R, you see a lot of those classic items we talked about on the outside spilling over to the inside. Things like updated materials like the wood and aluminum do update it and make it seem more modern, but really there's still that classic feel. The dash and the center console are very wide, and it's a little bit cramped, though better than the original car. I think some of that might even transfer to the back.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of room here in the back. Now, you all know that I'm a fairly small person, as in stature, as in height, and it's still kind of cramped for me in the back of the vehicle, but let me tell you about the luxury in the back here. How many cars do you find that have speakers in the door handles, that have heavy padding on the ceiling handles, that have your own personal valet light, that have cigarette lighters, ashtrays in the back, and heated seats? Now, it's not very often you find this, and this is truly the pinnacle of British luxury.
Now that I'm in the driver's seat, I'm reminded of all the things that are classic Jaguar. Everything from the way that the dash looks, but then again, it's also been modernized by use of navigation systems, Bluetooth, and even a couple little goodies like being able to pin back the remote mirrors. Now, the nice thing about this vehicle is it also has a great stereo system supplied by Alpine. It has great sound stage and clarity, things like modern sunroof and electronics that make these great leather seats with nice piping on them look great and also feel great. It really does bring together that classic luxury feel in a modern car.
We've come to that part of the show when we take a look at the vehicle and we tell you how we feel about it. So Dennis, give me 2 ups for the 2007 Jaguar XJ-R.
Well, the first one's going to be the heritage that goes with the design on the outside and that classic look on the inside. There's something about the shape and the way that the car looks makes you feel as if you're maybe a little richer than you really are. The other side of it is the gratuitous use of aluminum. I mean, something like 60% of this car is aluminum. Everything from the skin and the chassis to the suspension components that keep the weight of this car under 4,000 pounds, and that transfers into the way that it performs. Now, my down Nick is going to be this. The navigation system in this car is the older system used by the car company, whereas the new XK has that new flash system, and it doesn't really make sense to me that they didn't add it to this vehicle.
Now, my ups for this vehicle are, well, it's British, and when you look at British cars, it's beautiful heritage, beautiful luxury, and great performing vehicles. My second up for this car is the fact that it's made in England, and of course that makes it perfect craftsman quality and what I would really see as an all-encompassing beautiful vehicle that anybody in the world would possibly want to own.
Some sort of trend here?
Well, look, when you look at the royal family and top politicians around the world owning one, then that's why it's got to be a 2 ups for me. British and made in England. Now, my down for this vehicle is the fact that the steering wheel is on the wrong side. Now, I learned on a right-hand drive car. This is a left-hand drive car made for America. It's not the finest quality. We're used to making right-hand drive vehicles that perform better, that drive better, and of course drive on the correct side of the road.
The 2007 Jaguar XJ-R comes standard with a 4.2-liter supercharged 400 horsepower engine, backed by a standard 6-speed automatic transmission. The base price is $80,835 with an as-tested price of $85,800 even. The EPA city rating for fuel mileage is 17 miles per gallon, while the highway miles per gallon EPA rating is 24.
Here are the guys that make miles around possible. The Russ Auto Group, Baxter Auto Parts, Northside Ford, Ray Reese Dealerships, 4 Wheel Parts Performance Center, Grand Prix Imports, and J. Lee's Auto Group. Thanks, guys.